All this is unfolding on the day when a report by some 80 advocacy groups has come out calling on European companies to divest from doing business in Israel's West Bank settlements. The report singles out major corporations like Barclays Bank, German conglomerate Siemens, French supermarket giant Carrefour. It coincides with last week's announcement of a further expansion of Jewish settlements which are illegal under international law. For more, let's go to Brussels. Agnès Bertrand-Sanz is a Middle East humanitarian programs and advocacy advisor for the charity Oxfam. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
This call to divest from West Bank settlements, it's a bit like that arms contract that the public didn't know about with the Spanish that was still ongoing. The general public doesn't know how much business is done between European companies and those settlements. How much is it?
At the moment, it's impossible to quantify exactly the amount of trade between settlement and the European market. It's at several hundreds of millions. But what matters, it's really the position of principle, meaning how this trade and the investment of those companies and their connection with the settlements help the sustainability of a totally illegal project.
So let's give the concrete example. There's this French supermarket giant, Carrefour, one of the two biggest in the world. Last year, they withdrew Carrefour brand items from store shelves in those West Bank settlements, but they're still doing business with a local company which has franchises. How do you draw the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Carrefour is a case at point. In 2022, they signed an agreement with a company called Yenot Bitam to produce and sell Carrefour products in Israel. And this company has 9 stores in the West Bank, and 2 of them have Carrefour branding. So you have at least 2 openly Carrefour supermarkets in the West Bank at the moment.
And have you spoken with Carrefour?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and we spoke to all the companies, which we of course we had to do a right to reply to all the companies, and there some of them answers, others did not, and all the answers can be found in the report. At the moment, well, there are still photos of Carrefour supermarkets in the West Bank.
We saw it last week when the President of the European Commission talked about reviewing the association agreement between the European Union and Israel. She drew a lot of heat back home in Germany. This report puts out the notion that it's not to EU law necessarily you have to look, but more to the European Court of Justice.
Not necessarily. I mean, what we have based our the legal arguments around the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, which stated very, very clearly last year that the occupation is illegal, the colonization is illegal, and the states have an obligation not to participate in the settlement enterprise, not to be complicit, not to sustain. And hence also we think that this obligation extends to company. What Mrs. van der Leyen is proposing is already a timid response coming far too late to what is going on in Gaza, and which could be connected to the ICJ advisory opinion and the obligation of third states to what's going on in the settlements. But certainly far more needs to be done. We have seen like certain member states already starting to take some initiatives by their own. Belgium, Ireland, Slovenia, and Spain have all announced a ban on trade of goods only, not investment, not services, but trade of goods settlements. And we want to see more of that. We want to see measures of this kind being taken at the entire European level.
Because once again, it's one thing to put the onus on Israel itself, the state of Israel, but the West Bank settlements are something very specific.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. West Bank settlements, they are something very specific from the point of view of an outsider, in the sense that they're totally illegal, but from the point of view of Israeli institutions and Israeli, I mean, for them, there is a continuation between the settlements themselves and the state of Israel. I mean, it's one and the same territory. So there is a territorial continuity for them. So, but what I really would like to insist that what really matters, it's really the impact it has on the Palestinian economy, the Palestinian social fabric. I mean, the UN figures are very clear. Without the settlements, which are actually taking almost 30% of the West Bank, which is already a very small territory. Since 1967, Israel has annexed 2,000 kilometers square, which is like almost a third of the West Bank. Without the settlements, without what they imply in terms of land grabbing, water grabbing, restriction to movements, the Palestinian economy, the GDP of the Palestinian economy, according to the UN, would have doubled.
I want to thank you so much for joining us, Agnès Bertrand-Sanz from Brussels.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a very good evening.
Stay with us. There's much more to come, more news, plus the day's business. And in sports, a new world record in the pole vault by the Swede Duplantis again at the World Championships taking place in Tokyo.